G'day everyone, this is Jill Ball, also known as GeniAus, back here at Rootstech in Salt Lake City. I'm delighted today to have with me Judy Russell, the Legal Genealogist, and to help me I've got a fellow ambassador, Sharn White, who's also from Sydney, Australia. Judy, we've been following your blog for a while, the Legal Genealogist. How did you become the Legal Genealogist?
You know, you have to understand that, and I know that the Australians in particular do, I'm Scots-Irish on my mother's side. And the Scots-Irish are storytellers. So I grew up my whole life listening to family stories. And at some point, you just want to know, are these stories true? So combining my legal background, and I do have a law degree and I taught for many years at Rutgers Law School, with the genealogical training that I had, it was a natural progression to take a look at the law underlying so many of our genealogical records. And that's really how it came to be.
So you've been a genealogist, or we call it genealogist, not genealogist. You've been a genealogist for years, but now that you're retired from the law, have you really taken it on with gusto?
Yeah. I mean, the blog is new.
Yeah.
That was started on January 1st, 2012. So I'm now in the 4th year of blogging. And having had the educational background, teaching for all those years, the lecturing came kind of naturally. So.
On your blog, on your website, you say that in part your purpose is to help people understand the legal terminology that's an important part of family history, and you invite people to send questions that you might be able to help answer. Have you had any very strange questions or?
Well, there have been an awful lot of very strange questions, some of which I'm not going to answer in public. But for the most part, people are looking at records that they have obtained over the years, and they just don't understand what's going on in the document. Not long ago, I got an inquiry from a member of the Colorado Genealogical Society, and he had a record from 1670 Maryland. And it was 2 older people selling the right to have 50 acres each surveyed. So what was that all about? Well, what it was freedom dues for 2 indentured servants. They had concluded their 7-year indentures, and they were entitled to land to stay in Maryland. Now, the reason why I picked that one as an example is because the person they were selling the right to was my 9th great-grandfather. Just pure serendipity.
Oh my gosh.
A record we had never seen.
Gosh,
Oh.
that's incredible.
So that sort of thing is a fabulous part of doing a blog.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
that's a
you're
wonderful
reaping
story.
rewards.
Exactly.
It's cousin bait, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Cousin bait. Now, you have quite a few readers in Australia.
I'm glad to hear that.
One of the reasons I really wanted to get you in here today was because you're coming down under very soon.
I am so excited. I am as bad as a 3-year-old on this. I've never been down under. I've never been to Australia. I've never been to New Zealand. And I'm going to get to see both of them on this trip. And as I think some of my readers are aware, 2 of my oldest nephews are native-born Tasmanian devils, both born in St. Mary's, Hobart, Australia. So I'm really looking forward to getting to see some of what they've been up to.
You are actually going to catch up with them in the flesh.
I am. One of them is now living in Tasmania, and he and his wife are going to come over to Melbourne and meet us there. So I'm really excited about this.
Well, we're excited because not only are you doing the cruise, but you're working very hard, and you're going to do a speaking tour as well on land.
Yes. And I know we're going to be in Melbourne, in Sydney and in Adelaide, in Melbourne, in Perth and in Brisbane.
And in Sydney. I've got news for you.
I think I said Sydney. Maybe I
did you?
didn't.
Okay.
But, a lot of the cities that I've never had a chance to see, so I'll both be able to meet some of the Australian genealogists and get to see some of the sites as well.
Well, I happen to know that a lot of the genealogical societies are very excited and even ones that don't live near the cities are organising bus tours to come to your talks. So,
Oh, that's excellent. Good.
So
You
we're
know,
very
we
excited
have-
to have you
We
come.
have a lot of common elements to our legal systems. We all drew so heavily from the British common law. And so much of the records that we deal with as American genealogists, as Canadians, as British, as Australians, as New Zealanders, all has a common root.
So, what sort of things will you be lecturing on? Sometimes, obviously, because you've basically got an American audience and a few hangers-on like us, your posts are focused on the US. What sort of
Well,
topics are you going to be talking down under?
We'll be talking about DNA.
Okay.
We'll be
Oh.
talking about methodology. Now, that will have some American records, but the systems that we use are all the same. We'll be talking about the British common law and the way that it resulted in women's rights in all of our countries, our common reactions to criminals and rogues and rascals, and you got a few more of
good
them
topic
than we
for
did.
Australia.
I've got 10 of mine.
Absolutely.
I've got 5.
So, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about copyright and how it's the same and different between the United States
good.
and Australia and New Zealand. So a lot of different topics.
Topic. Oh,
Do you have a favourite topic that you like to talk on?
Oh, family stories, I think, would have to be my favorite overall. That we need to capture and preserve and pass down our family history, or it gets lost. The keynote that I was able and privileged to do here 2 years ago at Rootstech had that as the theme, and I will reprise that on the cruise.
We actually heard that on the cruise. It was the only time I couldn't come to Rootstech because I was committed to the cruise, and Family Search sent it so we could see it on the cruise.
Exactly.
And I must tell you, it really struck a chord with so many people.
And it does for all of us, because we realize that even our own grandparents, people that we grew up with and we knew, there are things about them we don't know, that we've already lost. So we want to record their stories, our parents' stories, and our own stories to make sure that they don't get lost.
Well, Judy, I'm so delighted that we've been able to talk to you today, because many of the people in Australia see the advertising, they don't really know you. So I'm hoping that I can share this on my networks and just give them a taste of what's in store for them.
Well, I'm delighted, and I can't wait.
When you come down. Thank you so much for having a chat.
Thank you much for having me.
Thank you, Judy.
Thank you.